So here we are, Saturday afternoon, just arrived at Darley Moor. It's a little bit rainy. We're going to get set up soon. I think we'll get the gazebo up first, so at least then we can get the stuff under that before we start getting everything out. Hello, Mrs. H.
Hello.
Let's just show you what happened when we first arrived. Mr. H was driving, by the way. So we arrived here and I drove forward to reverse back, and have a guess what? We got stuck in the mud. The wheels were spinning, we were sinking deeper and deeper. So got a couple of hefty fellas to give us a bit of a push out. We got out. So we're parked up now. Got a nice spot here to put the gazebo up. It's a fairly hard standing spot, so got no mud, which is good. Right opposite the toilets, blocks, always very handy. So yeah, thanks to Kev's Van Rentals at Havlin for sorting us a van out this weekend. Unfortunately, we still haven't got Hattie because the alternator job is not quite finished yet. But Hattie will be back on the road and in the paddock at Mallory Park next Saturday, ready for round 2 of the championship, which is next Sunday. So we'll be having our first overnight stay in her this year. There's a few people wandering about here, watching a bit of today's practice session. And we're going to very shortly get set up. So here we are at Uttoxeter. Everything's set up in the paddock for the night, being watched over by our private security team. Due to the weather being a bit iffy and the fact we haven't actually got Hattie the motorhome staying overnight tonight, it was a bit much all four of us sleeping in the back of a van when it's going to be quite a cool night. So we've booked in here for the night, which is 5 miles from the circuit. We're going down to eat shortly at 7:15. Our leather suits are hanging up in the room rather than leave them in the fan at the circuit, where potentially they'll get quite cold and we'll have to put them on in the morning. So don't really fancy that. Everybody all right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we get a good night's sleep in here tonight and probably go and have a nice shower later.
The clocks go for...
Oh yeah, the clock's changed tonight, so we're effectively going to lose an hour's sleep. So we're going to be as fresh as daisies tomorrow. And isn't this the life as factory riders? Ha ha. Stay in a hotel the night before we go racing at Darley Moor at the end of March. So one of the luxuries of being in a hotel room is you get to make a nice PG Tips cup of tea. There we go, PG Tips. Definitely one of the better flavoured tea bags. Got a good selection there for the morning. Got the coffee sashes, Billy Pinto if you like. Shannon's just having a little glass or two of Merlot. Very nice. So yeah, got the flask ready to fill up in the morning with some hot water to keep us going for warm drinks for the day tomorrow. Enjoy a nice cup of tea now. So good night all, and see you bright and early tomorrow morning for round 1 at Darley Moor. Here at Darley Moor, sunshine is currently out, but potentially it's going to be certainly damp or wet for practice in the morning. So yeah, as you can see, we're pretty much set up. So what we're doing is we're putting the 2 front wet wheels in. These are the wet tyres, wet weather tyres. Just changing Mr. H's wet weather tyres going in. Putting the 2 front ones in tonight, and then because they are the quickest ones to change. Then tomorrow morning, if it's wet damp, we'll put the rear ones in. But then at least we've got one set in ready. So these are the ones that have been taken out. For those that don't know, these are slicks for dry track conditions. Then you've got your wet tyres for damp track, wet track. So yeah, Mrs. H is being done. Just doing that now.
Here we are at Darley Moor. We haven't done many videos today because it's too cold to hold your phone. So this one will be brief. Mr H is qualified and done race 1. How are you looking forward to race 2?
I am, yeah. The track is pretty much dry now after threatening being raining all day. I think I qualified 8th this morning, finished 7th in the first race, which I'm really happy with because I've not been here to race since 2005 myself, and I've not been on a wet track since 2005 either. People probably don't really know that. So yeah, I felt quite comfortable on the track quite quickly after all these years from not being here. And so to get 7th in the first race, yeah, I'm more than happy with that, really happy with that. So hopefully pretty much the same again in the second race. We should see how it goes, take each race as it comes.
Very good. We'll catch up with you later.
Bye. So far, round 1 is going okay. Shannon's just gone to get ready for her first race of the day. She didn't do the first race this morning. We get 2 races each, but she's going out in the second race. She wasn't really feeling it this morning, so that's fair enough. I told her to take the leathers off and just chill out. So yeah, Mr H's bike is ready to go. This is our little setup for the day. As you can see, the old classic style toolbox still works a treat. Everything you really need in here for day at the races. So yeah, it's all going well. The track is dry now. So yeah, we'll see how we get on. Both bikes are ready to go. You see the transponder there, attached to Mr. H's bike for your lap times, other information. Got a trophy in the background, so that's...
Yep, the trophies are in the background and there's the cat watching you. So we're 2 days post Darley Moor. This is our second attempt to finalise our vlog, as the youngsters call it nowadays. How do you think it went on Sunday, my love?
Okay, yeah, first round of the championship, it was cold. Anyone that was there knows it was quite cold. I think the maximum it reached was 7 all day. But it started off quite greasy, and then it did dry out throughout the day, which was a bit of a blessing. But we ran wets on all day because the track temperature was so cold. On our little bikes, on the 125s, it didn't really matter. You're not going to chew them up on the 125, the tyres.
That was something actually that the commentator mentioned as well when I was watching the first race. He was pointing out that on the smaller bikes, even though they're racing, the tyres are not going to warm up because the track is so cold.
Yeah. For me personally, it went, if I'm honest, it went better than what I expected. I've not raced at Darley since 2005. I've not raced on a greasy or wet track, or even been on a greasy or wet track since 2005. So I did expect to be quite rusty, but I think I settled in quite quick. I felt confident quite quickly. And that showed in my qualifying, I think, as well. And it's surprising how you can be out of a circuit for so long and literally get straight back into it pretty quick.
You looked confident though.
Yeah, I enjoyed myself. I did enjoy myself.
And that's what it's about.
I think from the few problems I encountered at the test day the week before at Mallory, which completely knocked my confidence to the point where I just thought, I'm done, I'm going home. I think I needed that as well. So yeah, it went well, and we can look forward to this coming Sunday at Mallory Park. But yeah, it was all right, first one of the year. Just needs to be a bit warmer because it was pretty cold.
Definitely, yeah. Totally agree. Anything you want to change ready for this weekend?
This weekend coming, I've made a couple little alterations, nothing major because it's only a week away since Darley Moor. So the more messing around you do with the bikes, the more likely you're going to encounter something else that's wrong or something goes wrong and you don't have much time to repair it. The main thing was mine was my exhaust was sitting a little bit low. And the marshals did pull me up on it. They said that it looks like your exhaust was loose. Actually, it wasn't loose. It just sits really low. So it casts on the ground on right hand is a bit too easy, which I'm not totally comfortable with. So I've got another exhaust on its way, which will possibly be here tomorrow or Thursday, which I'm going to fit. That's a relatively easy job to do. So I hope, that should be sorted for Sunday, which will make a bit of difference on the right-handers for me. Yeah.
Bro, thank you very much for your commentary there, Mr. H. And there's our new pit pup. She's just having a snooze in the background. It's basically what she does all day.
And Ellie will be coming with us to Mallory Park this Sunday.
She's coming to Mallory Park. Feel free to come down and say hello and give her a fuss.
And what is making a comeback this coming weekend?
Well, hopefully, Hattie the motorhome will be in attendance pending a road test.
Yeah, we've had the alternator done, but we need to go out and just try it to be confident we're going to get there with our bikes and kids and all the kit in it on Saturday. So we need to try that tomorrow night, because if that fails, we're going to need to get in the van for the weekend. So fingers crossed. Okay, Mrs. H, on the back of the first round at Darley Moor at the weekend, what's your thoughts on it and how do you feel about it and how did it all go for you?
Very different story for you than yours, obviously. It was hard. So, although we tested at Mallory Park last week, the entire time we were at Mallory, I was waiting to get off the track. I think it's fair to say, and because I was having gearing issues, it kept giving me a reason to pull off. So I knew I wouldn't have any excuses this week, and I found qualifying really difficult. It was the first time I'd been in a race, and in quite similar conditions to the ones where I had quite a nasty accident last year at Three Sisters, and I was knocked unconscious and still feel the effects of it now all this time later. And I spent the entire time around qualifying thinking, don't crash. And that's really distracting and really knocked my confidence. So I have no idea what my times were or anything. It was totally irrelevant to me. The first race was only about 20 minutes after our qualifying, so I didn't go out in race one. I decided to stay back, took some pictures instead, and just tried to sort of get myself in a better headspace, ready to get out there again. After a bit of head wobbling and talking to myself and some pep talks from other members of the paddock, they know who they are, they encouraged me to get back out there, and I did. So I spent race 2 dawdling around about 20 seconds slower than everybody else at the back of the pack just to complete the race. And I think that was the important thing to me, was that I could tell myself and show myself that I can complete it. I'm not necessarily going to come off again. I think because it was so cold and I knew my tyres were never going to warm up, and that was probably one of the contributing factors to my accident last year. It was just something that was niggling in the back of my head the entire time. So I was very glad to get done. We were freezing. I suffer from Raynaud's disease, which I don't know if anybody knows. It's once you're cold, and you're cold to the bone. So I couldn't feel my toes, I couldn't feel my fingers. But that's just the way the mop flops, unfortunately.
So it was quite a difficult day for you, I think. And
it was, yeah.
And quite a few people, myself included, suggested, well, look, just go out in the second race, use it as extra practice.
Yeah. So
slowly build your confidence.
Exactly, yeah. So moving forward, we've got Mallory Park this weekend. I like Mallory Park. I like the circuit. I feel like I know it really well there now. I did my ACU licence there. I've raced there a few times, done test days there. So I feel like I'm very comfortable with the circuit as well. So, yeah, moving forward, we'll see how this weekend goes. My bike is perfect. I don't need anything changing on that. The gearing issues are no longer there. The foot pegs are all right. The seat feels great. So just need to get my arse in gear and get a bit of confidence back and start knocking those times down. I've got some people to beat.
Yeah, and I think it will help for not just us and Shannon, but for everybody. I think we'll all agree that we just want some better weather now.
Absolutely.
Even if the temperature up a bit more, that will help. because racing bikes on cold tracks, on cold tyres, and when you're cold and getting a bit wet as well, it can be
It's
quite
not much
miserable.
fun.
Can be quite miserable. So yeah, onwards and upwards. Summer is on its way, spring is on its way, and as they say, this Sunday, coming Sunday, is a new day.
And if anyone wants to sponsor us for some tyre warmers and maybe a good generator to go with them, that would be amazing.
Thank you, Mrs. H.